When this announcement came out, and it was a surprise to, I think, just about everybody, it caused quite a stir. Should it have? Give us the legal consequences. How does this fit into the overall situation of Mr. Mueller?
Yeah, this is hugely significant. I mean, you have Trump's longtime consigliere who is now making it clear that he is fully cooperating with the Mueller investigation, sharing whatever information he may have. And on top of that, of course, he's now pled guilty to lying to Congress and making it clear that even despite the president's repeated denials, there were efforts to create this Trump Tower Moscow all the way through into the spring and summer of 2016, right around the time of that critical Trump Tower meeting. And the president's on record today saying that he could engage in these kinds of business transactions and there's nothing illegal about it. Well, I have to disagree. You know, if at the time those transactions were trying to take place, this Trump Tower Moscow, the president was promising Russians he would reduce or eliminate sanctions on Russian oligarchs, that can be a quid pro quo. That can be a federal bribery charge and other very serious federal offenses. So this is a huge day for the Mueller investigation. In other words, publicly, we're now learning about it. And again, another bad day for Mr. Trump.
And that, of course, assumes that Mr. Cohen is telling the truth now. I mean, what he's pleading guilty to is having lied to Congress already. President Trump says he's lying. How do you put a witness like that forward as a practical matter? Because he can be certainly subject to impeachment pretty readily.
Sure, that's true, but you look at corroboration. What's the corroboration for Mr. Cohen's statements? Are there documents? Are there emails? And in fact, we know as we sit here today that there are such emails. In the information that was filed this morning in the Southern District of New York, it lays out a series of email communications between Michael Cohen and other individuals discussing setting up the Trump Tower in Moscow. So I don't really think it's a he said, he said. I think it's a he said on Michael Cohen's side, plus a lot of independent corroboration through these emails. And obviously you have the president who could be seen as, offering self-serving statements to protect himself. So I don't know that it's a straight he said at this point. So there is corroboration.
Seth, it certainly seems to go to the possibility of motive. That is to say, there might be some reason for the president to take it easy on the Russians, to get in business, essentially, with the Russians. Does it go to the collusion issue, though? Does it really go to whether the Russians actually were colluding with the campaign?
Absolutely, it does, for the reasons I stated earlier. If at the time the Russians were meeting with the Trump team campaign, Manafort, Trump Jr., and Kushner in the Trump Tower meeting, seeking relief under the Magnitsky Act, these Russian sanctions that the U.S. was imposing, and at the same time there was a promise to reduce those sanctions while Mr. Trump was trying to get favorable real estate deals in Moscow and accepting dirt on Hillary Clinton, that feeds right into a federal bribery charge. There's also, foreign aid to a campaign that can be a criminal offense. So this really goes to the heart of the Mueller investigation and fits squarely into this time frame where Mueller's been looking for so long.
So if it plays out, and we don't know how it'll play out, but if it plays out, is it enough? Or do they also need, they didn't get Manafort apparently to turn. That's what it appears to be right now. I mean, they're going after him saying he lied to them as part of the deal. Do they need other people like Mr. Corsi, other people that were around this situation to really tie it specifically into, for example, getting emails that had been hacked?
Yeah, I think that would be a large get for the Mueller team. Losing Manafort was a big blow to the Mueller. There can be little doubt about that. And figuring out how those emails, the hacked emails, were put into the public atmosphere is key. If that can be linked back to an order from Trump to Corsi, to Stone, to get the material out into the public without having the Trump campaign's direct fingerprints on it, that can go directly to this idea of conspiracy or collusion. So, whether they need more, I think we're seeing only the tip of the iceberg, even here to this day, of what Mueller's sitting on. But this all goes to this idea of a conspiracy between the Russians and the Trump campaign to influence the 2016 election.
You said it, Seth, what he's sitting on. And my final question is, why now? Why did this get done right now? Because it appears they've been working with Mr. Cohen for a while now. What's the timing? Are they trying to send signals to somebody else?
Well, there's been some speculation that they were waiting to get Trump's answers to these written questions before dropping this dime. So that could be one reason. It could be this is when the lawyers all had the case scheduled and it just is happenstance. I think, we saw a lull in the 60 days leading up to the midterms, and it's been my position for a while now that we're going to start to see a lot of other significant events. The next one may be tomorrow. The federal grand jury in Washington, D.C. sits on Fridays, so maybe we'll see something big tomorrow.